kids, comics. Silver-haired Bronze Age babe here, yakking about her comic book collection, and today talking about Superman number 349 from 1980. This book came to me as part of an AOK from Magic Lasso, and he was particularly curious about what my take on this book would be. And upon opening it up and taking a look at the first page, boy, was he knows me, man. This is right in my wheelhouse. The title is The Turnabout Trap, where you instead of Supergirl, you've got a Superboy. Instead of Superman, you have a Superwoman. And the entire thing is written by Martin Pasko, guest writer. And Martin Pasko was infamous, at least in my book, for writing one of the most egregious women's libbers from space story a few years earlier in Wonder Woman. And his feelings about second wave feminism came roaring through, and if you're interested, there's a video on my archive called Brainwashed, and so I have a lot to say about Marty Pasko. So this story starts with Superman returning from a mission in space, but boy, the world's topsy-turvy, because instead of Jimmy Olsen, you've got Jenny Olsen. Instead of Lois Lane, you've got Lois Lane. And instead of Perry White, oh my gosh, it's Penny White. So, oh my gosh, Superman's like, oh, this is strange. And as he says here, a planet similar to my own with obvious choices. The male and female roles are reversed. He takes a gander up at the JLA space station and confirms everything. A turnabout league, just as I suspected. A Batwoman instead of Batman, and a Black Condor in place of the Black Canary, and so on. And let's just take a moment from our story to pause and appreciate the sartorial splendor of the Black Condor with his hot pants and go-go boots. Boy, oh boy, there was an opportunity lost, I think, for a character that I think we all could agree we would love. So the story kind of trundles along as usual, and he's still flummoxed because, oh my gosh, everything's all skewy. Instead of Lex Luthor, there's a Leslie Luthor. There's a toy woman. Instead of a toy man, there's a bizarre arrest. He's really getting kerfuffled, but then the Superwoman shows up to basically arrest him. And they start to kind of duke it out, and she's letting him have it, and he says, but he's letting it happen, and she says, come on, aren't you going to even put up a fight? And he says, sorry to disappoint you, I'll grant that your powers are equal to mine. Well, that's good. But I still can't bring myself to hit you. I'm not that liberated. Well, Martin Pasko could never, ever bypass an opportunity to have a little dig, however minor, at women's liberation. So basically, again, the story is just plods along. It's not, the greatest escape tale and all that kind of stuff. But what you end up finding out is that this whole thing is a trick that Mr. Mxyzptlk devised to really throw a wrench into Superman's day. And the reason Mxyzptlk wanted to mess with Superman is because I guess in a previous issue, Superman helped Mxy get married. And we have this little flashback. Well, he says, let me tell you what happened after we were pronounced imp and wife. He says, I knew you'd never, or this is from his new wife. He says, I knew you'd never marry me if you saw what I really looked like, Mxy. So I magically projected the illusion of beauty that you fell in love with. But now that we're married, now that we're hitched, I can show you my true self. And in, kind of Shrek-like moment, she changes into who she really is, and of course, he does, gah, that's not pretty, and I only marry pretty people. Now, Superman learns that and says, rather than saying, well, please tell me, Mxy, that, looks aren't the only thing that you want to get married about. No, Superman says, but no marriage that takes place under false pretenses is binding At least not here on Earth. It's like, well, thanks, Soups. So Mxyzptlk thought the same thing and had the marriage annulled. But what his entire aim with this silly scheme was to make Superman miserable by creating a world where there was no Lois Lane. You know, what right do you have to be happy when I'm so miserable? So, you know, I wanted to see how long you could stand being without your lady love. Now, within that is, I think, kind of an interesting story. But and, you know, as usual, Superman makes him say his name backwards, and everything is, you know, back to normal, and phew. But the thing, it's, like I say, I think there was an interesting opportunity to have Superman be at odds because there's just no Lois Lane. I don't understand why the gender swap had to be shoehorned in here, other than the fact that Martin Pascoe in 1980 didn't really like the idea of gender equality. And any opportunity that he could have to dig at it in his comic book writings, apparently he took. So there you go. That's the issue of Superman number 349. Again, Magic Lasso, thank you so much for this book. I'm delighted to have it in the collection. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'll see you next time.